Hello guys, welcome to day 6 of my Python tutorial, 15 days of Python. I'm just running through how I will learn Python in 15 days if I were to start all over again. And it's been an exciting journey. We've been dealing with data structures from day 4, day 5, and on day 6 we're going to be looking at another data structure on Python, which is dictionaries. We're going to be understanding and using dictionaries. We'll be creating one ourselves. We'll be accessing dictionaries, we'll be modifying dictionaries, adding and removing items from dictionaries. Similar to the way we did it with lists, with tuples, we'll be doing same on dictionaries. And you'll see how kind of nuanced these data structures are, how different the dictionaries are from the list, and how the list is different from the tuple, which you have seen in previous videos. We'll be walking through and learning about dictionaries, the methods, iterating over dictionaries, what are the kind of loops you can do over dictionaries. The same way we did with tuple, we'll also be looking at nested dictionaries, how you can have dictionaries within a dictionary. And we'll be applying dictionaries in practical examples, and we'll be doing exercise as well, just like we've done previously. To get started, if you talk about dictionaries, I don't mean your English dictionaries that you have to look up words and understand the meaning of words. Dictionaries in Python is totally different from your English dictionary. They are unordered collection of items, where each item is a key value pair. In key value pair, you have the key and you have the value is a pair. Unlike lists where you have just a single item, and the same with tuple. But in a dictionary, there is a relationship between the key and the value, and that's why they are called key value pair. Dictionaries are mutable. What it means is that they can be changed when they are created. They can be defined by enclosing key value pairs in a curly bracket. For tuple is parenthesis, but for dictionaries is the curly bracket, with each pair separated by a comma. There's an example here on the screen. I have creating a dictionary. I have student, name, the name is Alice, the name is the key, while Alice is the value. Age is the key, and 20 is the value. Grade is the key, and A is the value. You could see the key value pair relationship. Anywhere you have a key, you would have a corresponding value. The next question after the introduction of dictionaries is, how do we access dictionary items? We've shown you how you can access items within tuples and lists, but for dictionaries, the way to access the items are quite different. You could access it using the keys. You call the keys and you can come and look at the student we have here. We have a dictionary called student. How do I access the individual values in the student dictionary? If I want to access Alice, if I want to print out Alice, how do I do that? The way to do that is by calling the key. And I'm going to do, when you look at the bottom here, this first one, I have student and I'm calling the key. When I call the key, I'm going to have an output called Alice. Similar for student, when I call the age. When I call the age, I'm going to have the output 20. And this is how you call the different items within a dictionaries. You look for the key, you call the key, and you're going to get a corresponding value for that key. You can also do modification to a dictionary item. Remember when we say that they are mutable. Because they are mutable means that you can do some changes, you can add, you can remove items, you can change items within a dictionary. I've got 3 examples here to explain that. The first is going to be changing the value. The second is going to be adding a new item, like a new key value pair. And the last is going to be removing a particular key. And removing the key means that the value is going to be removed inadvertently. So let's look at the first is, we have student age from the dictionary we had from the previous slide. We have age, and we could change the age to 21. It's very straightforward. You just call the particular key and the value, you assign a new value to the key, and that changes. And if I'm to print out the entire student, you would see that when I print this out, I'm going to have name is Alice, age changes from 20 to 21. I can add a new item that never existed prior. This is the new item I can add. It's never existed. But because dictionaries are mutable, I can add a new value. So I have student, I have major. The major is the key, and I can have the value. And when I do that, I can print it out, and I see that a new key value pair has been added to this called major. It's just going to add towards the end. Again, I can remove an item. If I don't want the grade, I can just have the grade removed. And when I do that, it's going to take this out. It's going to come out. Because of the cut I did here when I was taking the screenshot for this code, you were not able to see the major that I added. But because this grade has been removed, you should be able to see it now. And you see the major computer has been added. So you can delete a particular key value pair from the dictionary. So they are mutable. You can change, you can remove, you can add items, you can do a whole lot of things. There are methods in dictionaries. The get method returns the value for the specific key if the key is in the dictionary. However, if the key is not in the dictionary, you are going to have an error. You have an option to mention what other value, what is the option if it doesn't exist. You could say if it doesn't exist, return an NA, not available, or whatever. But if it doesn't exist, it's just going to drop an error. But if it exists, it's going to return the value for that particular key. Keys. The keys return a view object that displays a list of all the keys in the dictionary. If you look at the snippet of code I have down here, for the first one, when you do get name is a key that we have existing within our dictionary, and it's going to bring out a result called Alice because that exists, and I can use the get method to retrieve that. For the keys, I could use student keys, and what that does is to bring out a list of all the keys existing within my dictionary. I can also say .value. So the value returns a view object that displays a list of all the values in the dictionary. Different from the keys returns the keys, but for the value, you get all of the values existing in the dictionary. And this is what I have here. And the final one is items. It returns a view object that displays the list of a dictionary's key value tuple pairs. And so it's just going to return all of the key values as a tuple. Remember where we have a tuple? This is the first tuple, and we'll have another tuple, and it returns the key value pair as a tuple. And these are the main methods you have within a dictionary to do all of your manipulation that you want to do. You can also do iteration through a dictionary. You can loop through a dictionary, you can iterate through it using a for loop. We are still coming to for loop, where we're going to do an extensive introduction to for loop, help you understand what for loop is, what you can do with it, what you cannot do with it. But now it's just to explain that within key value pairs for a dictionary, you can do the iteration. For instance, iterating through keys, you can say for key in student.keys. And don't forget that the student.keys is a list of all of the keys within your dictionary. So for each of the key within the list of keys, print each key. And when you do that, it's going to bring up a list of keys. Similarly, you could say for the value, for every value in the student.value, print the values. Is going to give you a list of all the values. And you can say for key value in student.items. Remember that when we say items, the items is giving you a tuple. It's giving you a tuple of all of the key value pairs. So we could say for key is going to return two values because it's a tuple, and we're going to say for key value in student.items, return the key and we return the value. You could use that to iterate over it and return the key and the value for each of the tuple you have within your dictionary. We've talked a lot about nesting, how you could have something embedded in another one. In dictionaries, you also have nesting. You can have the main dictionary, which is just the static, and you have other dictionaries inside of that main dictionary. You use that for different use cases, creating hierarchy of nesting structures you have within your data, from data more complex in terms of data retrieval, data storage. And this is very, very important as it gives you that flexibility to be able to get a different substructure of data, sub-hierarchy of data collected within dictionaries. Student 1, in this dictionary, you have two students in the snippet. In the snippet dictionary I have here, you have two additional dictionaries. The first is a student. The second one too is a student. So you have the student 1 and the student 2. Within the student 1, you have a key value pair. You have the name and the value. You have another name, age, and the value. So these are the keys. The same you have for student 1 and student 2. These are data for two different students. You can print it out and just print out everything. Or if you want to get a specific value, you could say student, which is the main dictionary. You go a step further to say you want to go into the sub hierarchy of student 1, and within that sub hierarchy, you want to get the key for name. And when you click on name, what is going to be retrieved is the value for this key name, and the value is Alice, and that's what's going to be returned. So you could have nested structures within dictionaries, and for these nested structures you can go deeper into getting the different values for each of these nested structures. It could have 3 nested structures. You could have, even within a structure, having another structure within that structure, but you can always access the values within this key value pairs. Let's do a simple example, and we're going to go over to our environment and try to walk around a phone book directory, and I'll be explaining more of this in just a second. Again, I've written this out just to save time. I have my phone book. In the phone book, I've got a dictionary, and you have keys and your values. You have Alice, Bob, Charlie, and each of them have the individual phone numbers. Now, I'm going to add a new phone number to the dictionary. To add a new phone number, remember the example we did on the slides. To add a new phone number, I'm just going to say the phone book, the dictionary, adding a new key and the value. And when I do that, I could print this out. Let me just cut this out and run that. And when I run this, I'm going to have David added. I can modify an existing contact phone book. I can say Alice is this is the phone number of Alice, but I can assign a new phone number to Alice. And if I do that and print it out, I'm going to have a different phone number for Alice. Yeah, I have a different phone number for Alice. This was the previous phone number, but because of what I've done, I'm getting a new phone number for Alice. I'm going to be removing a contact, and the contact I'm going to be removing is Charlie. And when I run that, you'll see that Charlie is out. I previously had Charlie, but when I run this recently, I no longer have Charlie, and Charlie is out of the picture. I could search for a contact, and if the contact is not available, I want to return this contact not available. But if the contact is available, I want it to return the contact. So when I run this, Bob is available and is returning the phone number or the contact for Bob. But if I use what is not available, and let me say Mike, if I run for Mike, it's going to tell me quickly contact not found, because I don't have that within my dictionary. But if it was available, it's just going to say contact, give us the value of the contact, which is there. So I'll be looking at a second example. The second example is looking at student grade. We'll be creating a dictionary of student grades, and within the dictionary, we'll be having a nested dictionary. Here we have Alice. For Alice, we have maths is 90, science is 85. For Bob, we have math is 75, science is 95, Charlie 80 and 70. We'll be assessing the grades. The first is, let's assess the grade for Alice, mathematics. It's going to return 90 because, again, this is what is going to happen. For the grades, this is the dictionary. For the dictionary, we go down one level to Alice, which is what we did here. And after going down to Alice, we go look for our math key. The key is not going to return this value. Again, we want to get for Bob, but for Bob, we want the sciences, not the maths. And the same way, we go down one level and we keep going down until we get to the maths. The math key is going to return the value, 95. We're going to add a new subject for a student. Adding a new subject, we're going to add the name, and is going to be added for Alice. We are going to add English for Alice, and the value we are ascribing to the English we're adding for Alice is 88. And when we run this, you're going to see that a new value has been added to Alice. We can print Alice grades out and you can see everything. And modifying an existing grade, we have Charlie on maths. Charlie has 80 on maths, and we can increase that to 85. So let me run everything and you can see everything here. When we add it for Alice, Alice becomes 3. Alice has math, science, and English. The English was added for Alice. And when we did the modification for Charlie, Charlie changed from 80 to 85. And here we are going to delete Bob's science grade. And when we delete Bob's science, Bob will have only math available. And these are the different modifications we can do. I just did this to show you how you can do these modifications and what you can iterate for it. Now, let's have our exercise. Like I always say, you could try this exercise on your own. You don't need to wait for me, it's just straightforward. I try to make the exercise as simple as possible so that you can have a try at it. But if you cannot try it, if you cannot solve it, we're going to do it here together, and just you stay with me. The exercise is we're going to be writing a Python script that takes a dictionary of items and their prices from the user. So he asks the user, give us a dictionary of items and the prices, then allows the user to input an item name to get its price. Let's try this out. So in this exercise, this is what the exercise is going to explain. In the exercise, I'm going to be taking a dictionary of items and their prices as input from the user. The user is going to provide me a key value pair telling me that this is the item and these are the prices. Just for the user to be clear, I'm going to be saying the item, giving the user the method how I want it to be imputed. And I'm going to do a split. For every place you have the comma, I'm going to split it. And for each of the split that I've done, I'm going to be splitting further by the semicolon. And the first item, which is the 0, is going to be the key, and the second item is going to be the value. For each item in the item list, I'm going to be returning the key value pair. When I'm done with that, I'm going to tell the user, now provide me a name. When you give me that name, I'm going to return what the value is. If it does not exist, just like we have here, if it does not exist, I'm going to tell you item does not exist. Let's try this code and see how it would work. I'm going to run this, and for the various items, I could say bag, give bag 400, car probably 1,000, shoe could be about 500. And when I'm done, I'll just click on enter, and it's going to tell me, okay, provide me an item and I will give you what the price is. I'll ask, what is the price of car? When I click on car, it tells me car is 1,000, and that ends it. I could run this all over again and provide another item, and it's going to give me what the answer is. And this is just an example to help you understand how this works. You could try this on your own and let me know how it goes. Stay tuned for day 7. It's going to be an exciting one, and I hope you continue with this series, 15 days of Python. Please like, subscribe, and share, and so more people can have access to this and learn Python in 15 days. Thank you. See you in my next video.